Want to talk here a little bit about how tax prep companies have rigged the system in their favor. For those that don't know, in a lot of other countries, like the way that you do your taxes is that the government does your taxes and then they send them to you for you to review and approve. And then that's it. Your taxes are done. In this country, we don't do that, even though it would be very easy, much easier, much more simple than our current system. The reason we don't do it is because the H&R Blocks of the world, and what is it called, Intuit or whatever it's called, all these major tax prep companies have bought off our politicians so that they can keep raking in billions to do the processing that could be done for free. So this in The Lever. It's by David Sirota. When you're mad about tax paperwork, here's who to blame. Ronald Reagan touted a simplification plan that other countries adopted, but that's now blocked in America by his own party and the tax preparation cartel. If, like me, you were annoyed about all the hours and money you just spent filing your taxes, then you should be extra pissed off about the demise of Democrats' Build Back Better bill. The legislation would have started the process of making it easier for millions of Americans to do their taxes and save the country billions of dollars. Today's Republican lawmakers oppose the idea, even though it was boosted by former President Ronald Reagan and has now been implemented in other countries around the world. At issue is the cat and mouse game millions of us have to play every year, the one where we spend hour after maddening hour trying to figure out what we owe in taxes and then hope our calculation matches what the IRS already knows is due. The process is one of the many ways America overburdens its residents in ways other countries don't. This annual ritual of red tape is such a defining feature of the American experience. It was a storyline on the original version of The Wonder Years. It remains such a tedious tax on our free time that it's become a joke. Literally, I love that line, the little pun. It's become a tax on our free time. David is such a brilliant fucking writer. When I'm spending late nights away from my kids, buried in end-of-year spreadsheets, receipts, and tax forms, I feel a deep sense of rage, knowing it doesn't have to be this way. And I know that because it isn't this way in many advanced industrialized countries. That's right, Sweden, Denmark, and more than 30 other countries offer many residents so-called return-free filing, whereby the government does the tax preparation itself. Though the systems vary, the basic process is this. Tax authorities use employers' filings to calculate levies that are owed and send taxpayers their forms already filled out, and let them decide whether to sign and pay or do the calculations on their own. Reagan loved this idea so much he gave a national address in 1985 expounding on its virtues. Quote, "We envision a system where more than half of us would not even have to fill out a return. We call it the return-free system, and it would be totally voluntary." He said, "If you decide to participate, you would automatically receive your refund or a letter explaining any additional tax you owe. Should you disagree with this figure, you would be free to fill out your own taxes using the regular form. We believe most Americans would go from the long form or the short form to no form." The IRS Taxpayer Advocate Service has said that this system would free tens of millions of taxpayers from the requirement to prepare forms. In a country where the average tax filer spends 11 hours a year on tax paperwork, experts estimate that each year this kind of system would collectively save Americans somewhere between 155 million and 255 million hours that we are currently forced to devote to bullshit paperwork that the IRS and state departments could easily do on their own. It could also collectively save tax filers somewhere between $2 billion and $5 billion a year that is otherwise spent on tax software and tax preparation services. And yet, even though California implemented a pilot return-free program that proved wildly popular, those billions of dollars of potential savings are the reason return-free filing hasn't already happened across America. Those potential savings are the huge profits that the tax preparation industry reaps, and that industry doesn't want to give up that pile of cash. So it has used campaign contributions and a sophisticated lobbying operation to block the IRS from implementing return-free filing. In securities filings, the tax preparation cartel admits that it has a financial interest in the government continuing to make it all but impossible to fill out your taxes on your own. Quote, "Federal and state governments have considered various proposals through which the respective governmental taxing authority would use taxpayer information provided by employers, financial institutions, and other payers, to pre-populate, prepare, and calculate tax returns and distribute them to taxpayers," wrote the tax preparation company H&R Block last year. "The adoption or expansion of any measures that significantly simplify tax return preparation or otherwise reduce the need for third-party tax return preparation services or financial products could reduce demand for our services and products and could have a material adverse effect on our business." That's the bottom line, right? Likewise, Intuit, a financial software company, told shareholders that, quote, government-funded services that curtail or eliminate the role of taxpayers in preparing their own taxes could potentially have material and adverse revenue implications. I just think this story is such a great sort of example of how our political process actually functions. There is little to no care what is best for the community, what is best for the constituents, what the constituents want, etc., when there's enough money to buck that. And so in this case, we have an entire industry that does nothing but waste Americans' time and cause us stress. Nothing but it, right? The IRS already knows how much you owe, or else they couldn't check your taxes up against their figures. They would have no figures to check it up against. So they've already done the math. Why aren't we just getting their math and then getting, we have the opportunity to go over it? Why ain't that the situation? I mean, it's just so simple and so obvious why that's not the case. It's because Intuit and H&R Block and all these other tax preparation companies would lose their income, would not have any reason to exist. So once again, we have an unnecessary middleman scraping billions of dollars out of an industry to do nothing but waste all of our fucking time and cause us stress. And by the way, a lot of people end up going to jail over like miscalculating their taxes or paying huge fees, these kinds of things. And the IRS never goes after the rich, because the rich can afford good tax attorneys. So what they do is they go after the poor people who can't afford good tax attorneys, right? So this system, again, who is it benefiting and who is it punishing? And why do we have the system designed as it's designed? It's for the profits, for the wealthy. It's for the executives and shareholders at H&R Block. They get to take onus over, take a priority over everybody else. All of us, millions of people, they get to take priority because of corruption, because of lobbying, because of special interest groups, right? That run the fucking country.